Welcome to the System Simplified podcast, where we feature top leaders who share stories on how to successfully systemize a business. Now, let's get started with the show. Hello, Adi Klevit here, the host of the System Simplified podcast, where I feature top founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders about systematizing a business. And today's episode is being brought to you by Business Success Consulting Group, where we create, document, optimize, and implement processes and procedures so businesses can grow and thrive. And I'm very excited to introduce today's guests, not one, but two. So Kurt Mosley and Neill Marshall, and from HealthSearch Partners. So hello, Kurt, and hello, Neill, and welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Adi. How are you?
Doing great. It's
Adi,
good to have you both.
Adi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So let's start by introducing yourself. So a short bio from both. It's just a short introduction so our listeners will know who you are. And then we're going to have a great conversation about systems, about systematization, because that's what we talk about. And how can you actually relate from the healthcare industry? How does that relate to other industries as well? So our listeners can learn from it. So Kurt, let's start with you.
Sure. Well, again, my name is Kurt Mosley. I'm the association practice leader at HealthSearch Partners, and my main role is to work with our state hospital associations, which 5 of them currently endorse us, which is a nice compliment about our products. And I work in our health search leadership arena, and I work with hospitals and systems throughout America on securing executive leaders for them.
Fantastic. Neill.
Yeah, Neill Marshall. I'm the board chair of HealthSearch Partners. I've been in the executive search industry for 30 plus years. Had my own firm, worked with a major executive search firm, and then helped form HealthSearch Partners about 7 years ago. And I do executive search for hospitals and healthcare systems across the country.
Fantastic. So, we hear in the entrepreneurial world, I interviewed many people for my podcast, and there is a notion, which I don't necessarily agree with. I'm not saying it's correct, but it is the notion of it's hard to find good people. You probably heard it as well, right?
Well, we hope so, because then if it's hard to find good people, then they call us and we help them find good people.
That's exactly right. So why do you think there is that misconception, preconception, whatever you want to say, like this idea? Why do companies encounter that it's hard to find good people, that leads them to the conclusion that it's hard to find good people?
Well, I think that great companies who have great cultures do attract great people, but at other times, especially at the executive level, there are certain things that you need at certain points, and that person is not going to just show up. You have to literally go out and find them. I've got a search that I'm doing right now that it's a very unique search, and I've literally reached out to hundreds of people who have the right background and talked to 40 of them this week about the opportunity. So sometimes it takes going out and shaking the trees a little bit to find that right person.
That's a very good point, because basically what you're saying is the people exist. It's what are you doing in order to attract or find those people?
Right.
So what would be some of your advice that you can give to the entrepreneurs that are listening to us right now in terms of what can they do proactively in order to find great talent or to add the right people, good people to their team?
Well, I think the first thing is be a great place to work, right? Be a place that that what you write on the wall is actually what is happening. And great places, great organizations attract great people. And the other thing that you can do is if you have people that are not great, figure out a way to transition them into an organization that maybe better fits them, because there is nothing more attractive, more unattractive than and that will repel people than having some people that aren't at the caliber that everybody else is.
That's
And
very
I
true. Yeah.
would say that, what Neil brought up about have a great culture. Culture determines how people behave when no one's watching, and people are aware of that. Systems determine what people do every day when people are busy, and great organizations that attract the best people have both.
That's very true. That's very true. That's what we tell our clients. It's people problem. I mean, when there is a problem, it's people problem, process problem, or both. And that is correct. Yes. So when you start working with a client, they call you, they need somebody. Do you do an internal audit in order to evaluate their culture and help them fix whatever is not optimum? So then when you find the right people, you're bringing them into an organization that has the right culture?
Yeah. Most of our work is at the executive level.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it is the person that's coming in is going to be affecting the culture in some way, shape, or form, even if they're not the CEO, although we do a lot of CEO work. But even if they're not the CEO, they're going to have a large piece of the organization that's going to be reporting to them. And so they will be responsible for the culture. But to answer your question, yes, absolutely. We go in and evaluate. We say, what are you looking for? Why? Tell me, paint us a picture of exactly what you're looking for. And if there's something that doesn't work there, we absolutely have to bring it up and say, listen, if you're looking to attract this type of person, you can't have this.
So give an example what this might be.
Well, the easiest one is the well, here's what we're paying. And you say, well, you know, I don't get to walk into the Cadillac dealership and tell them that I want an Escalade, but I have $75,000 for a brand new Escalade. So show me what I can get. Well, what they're going to show me is nothing, right? Well, if a Cadillac Escalade costs $150,000, that's kind of where you need to be. And so if an organization is looking for a Cadillac and an Escalade, they kind of need to be in a certain area with regards to compensation. And if they're not going to get a Cadillac Escalade.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I'm sure it also relates to smaller businesses, entrepreneurs that they want to invest in their leadership team or finding somebody that is a good fit. And it has to somehow, I don't know, fit into the budget or make the budget fit that, right? Because you're not going to get it otherwise. So how do you sell that to a business owner? Yeah, Kurt.
No, I'm just saying that a lot of times we have to be upfront and say, if they come back with a certain compensation number, we have to be upfront and say, nobody's going to take this job because of the money, because there's opportunities abound out there, but they may not be interested in this job because of the money. And we have to explain that to the client and to be competitive, because everybody wants a top-notch candidate, but at the same time, you have to be open. There's a difference between people that are looking for opportunities. There's passive candidates. And sometimes in that case, that may be the perfect fit, but they're going to demand more because they're happy where they are and they have to have motivation to move.
So what do you do in terms, I know it's kind of like a tricky question, but if you approach, so you're basically headhunters, you go and you approach somebody that has a job and you go, okay, well, my client is looking for an executive. And that person goes, okay, yes, I'm going to move over. What will prevent that person to move over 3 years from now when they're working for your client?
Well, what our hope is, number one, in this day and time, nobody's somewhere forever, right? I mean, the 30-year IBM company person doesn't exist anymore. What you're looking for is a nice long tenure where they can get what they need to get done, and what you want them to get done. And then if you don't have other opportunities for them, frankly, after 4 or 5 years, if you don't have other opportunities for them, they're probably going to leave no matter what. But the you know,
But
if people
this is
are,
a very good point. I mean, that's what I'm getting to. So that's something that also, our listeners can probably something that crossed their minds is how do I retain talent? How do I make it so it is interesting for them so they're interested in staying, they're challenged. What would be your advice? Like, what would be some things that entrepreneurs that have companies, let's say they have 50 employees or 100 employees, and they have the leadership team and they are there for, let's say, 4 or 5 years, but you're right, maybe they want the next challenge and they are great employees and you want to retain them. What would be some of the strategies to retain those employees?
well, I keep going back to being a great place to be, right? Where the things on the wall fit what actually happens, and that's an important piece. Giving them other opportunities, giving them chances, whatever that it may be. And I don't know, we're not talking about a specific thing, so I can't tell you exactly. And then the other ways, frankly, if they're important enough, you make it so that they can't leave because of compensation or ownership or whatever, right? Where I literally just talked to a gentleman today who, if he leaves his organization, I said, if you leave, what are you leaving on the table? And he said $500,000. And the delta between what my client had to offer and where he was not big enough to make up that $500,000. And so having a situation where it is costly to leave from a financial standpoint. It's what all the big um, equity firms make it so that you can't leave because they keep enough on the back end that you're walking away from, a year's worth of compensation. So you try and figure out ways. I know small companies can't do what the large companies can do, but you make it financially where it's really hurt. It's going to hurt to leave, and maybe
And
you do it
Right.
through ownership or stock or equity.
But definitely to your point, there has to be also a career path and a way to improve and a way to grow and paint a picture of growth. So you might stay in your position as, let's say, the director of operations, but paint maybe you're opening a new location and that person will be in charge of that. So it's also that keeping them challenged and motivated and looking to the next opportunity in the firm or in your business can make it so they also want to stay.
Yeah,
So
and that
retention is a big deal. I mean, you train somebody, you invest in somebody, and you want to make sure that they are happy and they are growing with you.
and I think it's okay. We've counseled our clients on day one when the new leader comes in to sit down with them and say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Hopefully you'll still be with us. But at the same time, it's okay to ask them. And they say, well, I want to be, my career aspirations are this. Let's see if we can parallel that and maybe find another position for them down the road in the company so they know that you're looking out for their best interest. And the happier they are, and if they see another opportunity after they've developed to move on, they're more likely to stay. And one thing from day one is very important to make sure the family connects with the community. And that's what a lot of people don't think about. They think, well, the money will keep this person in this job, but their family has to be happy in the community they are. So from day
Even if
one,
they relocate.
right, making sure that they understand that the family is important. Like it's 30 days. How's the family accumulating? How are the kids in school? How is the real estate market? Making sure they're happy there. So they're not looking down the road and say, this isn't working. And do that up front in that first 90 days because it's important. And it lets them know that you want them to stay. But at the same time, if they have other goals they want to meet and you can help them meet them, that might help to retain them.
and I think the other thing that I would say is and this comes back to the system level, but get everything you can out of them. If you don't have something to keep them after 4 or 5 years, right? So make sure that they've systemized everything and that you've got everything that they have from a knowledge standpoint and from an operational standpoint. You've got all of that, and that they've created and mentored somebody or 2 people that can take their place.
That's a very good point, because you want to retain people, but we see day in and day out in what we do is the knowledge transfer. I mean, we just finished a project for knowledge transfer from one CEO to another, because the CEO is leaving and needed to get a replacement, but the knowledge was there for years and years and years. So you definitely want to have that, create those systems, the processes in place, so you have a training manual, a playbook on how to do the position. And yeah, of course, starting with the mentorship, but sometimes you don't know that they're leaving. So that's why it's very important to have, not start documenting when they announce that they're leaving, because no matter how much responsible the person is, when they're announcing that they're leaving, they're already part in, part out. It's like, and then, oh, I forgot about that. And then they can also, it's harder. So that's why it's good to have everything documented from the start.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you should have to also document before they even start the position. So you are hiring for a new position, they should have it documented. Then they come in and they make changes. Any change has to be documented and put in place.
Absolutely.
So then, you don't have that much risk when somebody leaves. Okay, fine. So you find somebody else. That's part of the game, as you said.
No, I absolutely agree. And I will tell you, and you know this, it's so much easier to document today. I mean, you can do it in an interaction, an interview. You record the interview with somebody, run it through AI, tell it to come up with the processes that this person talked about, and voila, you've got a document that can live.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I wish it was that easy. Otherwise, we wouldn't exist. I mean, it's like saying that you can ask AI to do the executive search, but, it's definitely easier because you have all those methods. But yeah, I agree with that for sure. Yeah, so we agree that, processes definitely have to be documented and knowledge transferred, and find the right fit for the company, and making sure that the culture is correct. So that way it's a great alignment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, if our listeners would like to reach out to you to know more, or maybe they need help finding executives in the healthcare arena, how can they do that?
Yeah, so both Kurt and I are active on LinkedIn. You can look us up on LinkedIn, and I'm assuming the names will be spelled right in the show notes. Or you go to our website, HealthSearchPartners.com, just the way it sounds, and we have all of our information on there.
Absolutely. So we will include everything in the show notes, so it will be easy for the listeners to click on it and connect with you.
Great.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. Thank you so much for the information.
Thank you. We enjoyed being here. We enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You are very welcome.
Thanks for listening to the System Simplified podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.